welcome back to my channel. Today's recipe is super exciting because I'm sharing a brand new, all my recipes are new, but this is a brand new take on saag aloo. Now I have shared palak paneer, palak aloo, all these kinds of recipes before, but I have not made anything like this before. So I am going to make a beautiful spinach and kale curry, and then I'm going to roast the potatoes in the most delicious mixture until they are crispy on the outside and soft and crumbly on the inside. And then I'm going to put these two things together and make the most incredible dish for you guys. So let's get cooking. Before that, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button. What are you waiting for? Well, I'm waiting for nothing. I'm waiting for the food that's going to be ready today. Let's get cooking. I'm going to start by taking a large pan, and in this I'm going to add around 150-180 grams of kale, and I'm going to put this on the hob with around 50 to 100 ml of boiling water. I'm going to cover this and cook it for 5 minutes. So it's been 5 minutes and this has wilted down. I am next going to add around 300 grams of spinach leaves. I'm gonna once again add 100 ml of boiling water. Cover and cook this for 3 to 4 minutes. And while that is cooking, I'm going to prep a couple of things. So I'm going to peel 2 garlic cloves. Now this is one of those recipes where, you know, usually if I'm using garlic, I'll say use loads, but a couple of garlic cloves is plenty. So just a couple of those, and then also going to get a nice little piece of ginger. Peel this. I find using a spoon is very good because you waste very little and you only get the skin out, so that's quite handy. And according to your taste, you could use 1 or 2 chilies. This is quite big and also it's quite strong, so I'm just using 1 green chili in here. So it's been 4 minutes and that has wilted down properly. Look at that. So I gave kale an extra 5 minutes because it takes a bit longer to cook than spinach. And now both of these leaves have cooked. I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to transfer it to a blender. Make sure to add all the liquid as well. That's going to help it blitz up. And then goes in the garlic, ginger and chili. And just 3 to 4 ice cubes is just going to help try a little bit to keep the color intact. And now I'm just going to blitz it up. Just look at that. Stunning. So now that we've got our palak puree, I am going to move on to the next step, which is back on the hob. I have got a pan here. I'm going to start making the base for our spinach. So first things first, before I even start cooking, I need to finely chop 1 red onion. You can use any onion, but I'm using red today. Going to start with a nice hot pan and add oil of your choice. I often use sunflower oil, rapeseed oil and very rarely some olive oil. So I have got here around 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil. Get it nice and hot. Next we add some whole spices. So a stick of cinnamon, 4 cardamom pods. Oops. Right, and you'll notice that I'm using the actual Indian bay leaves, and the difference between Indian bay leaves and the bay leaves in the UK is that the Indian bay leaves have got 3 veins running through it and they've got a different flavor. This doesn't stop me from using the English bay leaves, but if I can find them in the shops, I buy them, and when I run out, I just use the English bay leaves. So 2 of these and 4 to 5 cloves. Next we add in the onions. And I'm going to give this a good 6 to 8 minutes. Now, while this is going to cook for 6 to 8 minutes, I'm going to move on to the potatoes. So I have got a cold tap water in a pan, and then I'm going to get the potatoes prepped up. As always, I'm going to be using the red potatoes. They are grown locally, and they are great for Indian cooking and also great all-rounders. So I have got medium-sized potatoes, and I'm going to start peeling and see whether I need 4 or I need 6, because my family absolutely loves this, and they might just pick the potatoes and eat it on its own because they're so delicious. So I have to be prepared with a little bit of extra. And the sun is playing hide and seek. So I am going to actually be using all the 6 of them because I know they'll get eaten, and I'm going to chop them into the kind of size I want the end product to be. So this kind of size is what is going to be perfect for this recipe, like an inch pieces. And now all these potatoes go in this pan of water. So to this water, I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of baking soda, bicarb soda. And then I'm just going to bring it to a boil and cook this for 3 to 4 minutes until the potatoes are just soft. I'll show you when to stop. So while that is cooking, I'm going to bring my attention back to the onions. I'm going to chop 1 tomato finely because it's almost ready. So this is nicely golden and it's ready. So I'm going to add the tomatoes. Now I'm going to cook this until the tomatoes have softened, so like 5 minutes. It might be time to add some spices. Half a teaspoon of salt, chili powder, tablespoon of dried fenugreek leaves, kasuri methi, and a mix. Now we add our pureed kale and spinach. Once I have mixed it, which is now, I'm going to cover and cook this on really low heat for a good 5 minutes because I want all the flavors to come together. Right, so once boiled, this has actually cooked for 5 minutes, and I just want to check on the potatoes. This is done, I can tell you already. It shouldn't be super soft that it's falling apart, but a knife cutting it through should be cut quite smoothly. So now I'm going to drain this. I'm going to let this sit for 2 minutes while I prepare the oil mix that's going to go on this. So I'm just going to add 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil in here. Next, half a teaspoon of salt. In goes a tablespoon of tandoori masala, and you can use fresh garlic, but I'm just saving time. So half a teaspoon of garlic granules. Just a mix. Now with the potatoes, sprinkle a tablespoon of plain flour and then just kind of toss it around. This is going to make sure that the very thin layer of flour is coated on the potatoes, and you can see that the potatoes now don't have a smooth outline. They've got this texture on the outside, and that is going to make these potatoes deliciously crispy. Right, goes in the oil, give it a toss. They smell so good. Go on a baking sheet. I've got the oven heating up, 200 or 180 fan. Make sure you've got them in a flat line because you want all the potatoes to be crispy. If they are in a pile, then the ones on the bottom will not get crispy. So now this is going to go in a really nice hot oven for half an hour first. And after 5 minutes, don't forget to turn this off. So turn this off and let it sit while the potatoes are roasting right there. Okay, so it has been exactly 30 minutes, which means it's time to check these beauties. Whoa, wow. So if at this point you think that your potatoes need a little bit longer, then obviously give them a bit longer. I think mine are properly done, and I'm gonna Give it just last 5 minutes. Turn it over and give it 5 more minutes. Now that I'm ready to plate up, I am just going to reheat this because, you know, obviously the potatoes have been cooking for around 30 minutes. I'm just going to bring this to a boil and then finish this with half a teaspoon of garam masala. And also a tiny little squeeze of lemon or lime juice, whatever you might have at home. And the very last thing to go in is just a tablespoon of double cream. This dish should easily serve 4 to 6 people. So I've made it for 4 people and then we can have some leftovers for tomorrow. And now comes the fun part. Crispy. Right guys, the only thing that's left to do is eat it! Oh, I'm always excited about food, to be honest. It's one of my favorite things. Okay, I know I should eat it with the palak, but with the saag, but I have to try this first. I'm regretting not making 10 potatoes because how am I going to control myself from eating all of this before everyone comes back from home? Honestly guys, you can make just the potatoes. They are insane. Wow. Crispy and spiced up. You know, it's not like salt and pepper only, but nothing wrong with that, by the way. But please do try it. The potatoes. I knew the saag will be good. That is just wow. To get a little potato with it, isn't it? Right. That saag aloo is not a normal saag aloo. It's delicious saag with roasted aloo. Please do give this a go. Don't forget to subscribe. The light has been stunning today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here again very soon with another new recipe. Bye. Oh, what would you have with this? You would have cumin rice, you would have plain rice, you would have garlic naan. That's what I'm gonna make. And all those recipes where you'll find on the channel.